wherever it might be, or even podcasts that will say these things that we just said, but it comes off like word salad because they don't turn around and say, I'm just as messed up as you. Hey everyone, welcome to the Big Fitness Show, episode 60. We're just talking about how we are the best kept secret, unintentionally, in the podcast and YouTube world. I don't know what's going on. Maybe I got you shadow banned. It's spiraling out of control. The wrestling channel's banned, the fitness channel shadow banned, and now you've joined me, the triad of being shadow banned, my co-host, who I unfortunately have dragged down into this abyss, Big Mike Barons.
Nah, man, we're good. We haven't been dragged down anywhere. It just we are a very well kept secret. I think the people that do listen enjoy what we're doing, but it's a secret. They just want to keep it to themselves. That's fine. I am cool with it. Keep it to yourselves. It's no problem.
Yeah,
we're not going anywhere. We're going to keep having these conversations and keep trying to help people and keep helping people live healthier every single day. That's the goal here. So that's cool. Keep it a secret. But if you wanted to tell somebody, we wouldn't be mad about it. So share this episode. You're going to get some value from this, I hope. And so maybe you can share this when you're done with it.
I know nice cell phone service has gone down a couple times, but we still have an email, I think, that works. The Big Fitness Show at gmail.com. Also, you can leave a voicemail through Spotify, and we're available on all of the podcast platforms. So how is that new treadmill treating you?
Oh man, we didn't talk about it before we started recording. It's actually I love it. I really do like it a lot. I'm not a runner and I don't like running. I've never been a runner. I was to give you everybody listening, I was a weight thrower in college. So I threw the shot put and the discus. And so picture that in your head, I was a big dude that didn't run. And now having a treadmill, I've ran. So I did test the first week I had it. I ran a mile 6 days in a row after not running for a long time. I took a day off and then ran a 7th mile on the 8th day and recorded a video in the process. And I have been able to shed about 55 seconds off of my mile time in that week. Wow. My mile time is not great. I mean, I started at 11:25, so it's not like it was a good mile
there's
time.
No ropes. The ropes make all the difference.
Well, yeah, totally.
As far as I run too.
Totally. So, but just the fact that I've been able to run a mile and it's so comfortable and so smooth. And so anyway, without making this into about the treadmill, it's a great piece of equipment and I'm super happy to have it and it feels good. And to throw it back to an episode a while back where we talked about cardiovascular health and how important it was, man, I really feel like I'm already feeling the benefits of just doing a few days of more cardio and running a mile. And even though it was slow and it wasn't great, it could be worse, but my lungs and my wind has come back faster after the 8th or the 7th mile that I ran. I recovered so much quicker. And I feel every day, I feel just a little bit better just from those initial week of doing it. So it's outside of the fact of what it is to get a piece of equipment and be able to have that and do the reviews and videos and things like that, just for my personal health, I just feel better every day already, and it's awesome. So it's very cool.
I don't know why I blacked out for a second. I heard everything you said. It's just StreamYard went a little nutty there.
Oh, did it?
If you're watching, it's shut off. I tell you what, I felt like I've been neglecting my cardio a little bit too much lately because I've been scared to get addicted to cardio again. And then you're skinny fat because you're doing so much cardio and not enough strength training. But I got the Fight Camp again. I started collaborating with them. We're going to work together. I may be in the app in a workout. So I'm training right now. Yeah, I'm going through the entire instructional part of the workout app. And it's amazing just in the 3 days because I was gassed, like you just said about the treadmill.
Yeah.
I was gassed in the first half round of just doing 1-2, 1-2,
Yeah.
And now on day 3, I did 2 workouts today, two different classes after my X3 workout. And I feel like I might be getting my reputation back from my wrestling days of being cardio machine.
That's
and
awesome.
My wife is looking at me going, are you thinking about fighting at 52, 53? I'm like, no,
Yeah, getting in the ring with
Maybe.
me.
Well, what I'm doing is I want to box. And then
Oh,
she'll say, well, maybe the fake wrestling would be better than the real
there
boxing.
you go.
But then I realize everybody today hits you for real anyway. So boxing and pro wrestling are kind of the same exact thing, except they're not wearing gloves.
Yeah,
So it
right.
might be better protected in a boxing ring. At least I can get
Yeah,
my hands up.
that's
So,
funny. That's
but you know,
funny.
what's funny is like we talked about like structure and everything in a previous episode. And now I'm finally starting to get, since we started these episodes of focusing more on the niche of men over 40 and men over 50,
Yeah.
now starting to get more, and this is the theme for today's episode, vision. I'm
Mm,
getting more of a vision of what I need to do, and more importantly, what what doesn't matter, what I shouldn't really be doing because it's not within what speaks to me and where my journey is going to take me. So that's this week's episode. Episode 60 is about having a vision, whether it's fitness, health, business, in our case, all the above, family life, personal life, homesteading. In your case, you can't fly by the seat of your pants. It only
right.
gets you so far.
Right.
Trust me, I know from experience. My
Oh,
fitness business has been flying by the seat of my pants until I met my business coach over here that's been helping with
sure.
my vision.
Sure, sure. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those deals. The vision thing. We were talking about it beforehand. When the idea popped in my head of doing a thing on vision and talking about vision. Um, this idea of having a vision for your life is so important, and I can't stress how important it is because it's cool to do fitness. Like fitness is great, getting your nutrition dialed in, and on the show we talk a lot about foundational things and how important fitness is, and making sure you're stressing those things. But having a vision for that is like kind of a step zero. Like you got to have an idea of what it is that you want to do. And I have spoke to so many guys out there in wrestling, outside of wrestling, just in fitness, in life, guys that I meet that have no fucking clue where they're going. And it gets me fired up. And I use that word on purpose because I wanted to stress because the having a vision and knowing where you are going and knowing what you are working towards is so important for the growth of your life. If you don't have a vision, if you don't know where you're going, you are wandering aimlessly. And I feel like there's so many guys my age, your age, younger than us that get lost and don't know what to do, don't know what to work towards, or work towards this one day, work towards this another day, work towards this another day, and then they never make progress. And you get to the point where you're 41 years old and you're like, what have I done? What have I accomplished? Where have I gotten? Have I made progress? Have I done anything to better my life, to make life better for my family? You know what I mean? And if you don't take the time to sit and figure out what that vision is, you're never going to make progress because you don't do it, right? Like you have to have that goal in mind and figure out what that is, and that's for all areas of your life. This is a fitness show, but this is fitness for the whole body, the whole person. Like we want you to be fit in everything. And so that's figuring out a career vision, that's figuring out a family vision, that's figuring out a health vision, a fitness vision, a financial vision. All these things, you've got to figure that stuff out, or you're going to stay stuck. And then you're going to wake up 60 years old and be like, holy shit, I wasted my whole life and made no progress at all. And I feel it because I feel this way sometimes. I feel like I'm like lost and then I'm not making the progress. And then I look and I'm like, okay, I've made a decent amount of progress, but there's so much time spent without like I can look back on a good portion of my 30s and be like, wow, what did I do? I had a family and had kids and all this kind of stuff, but progression of my career, progression of the financial situation, our home, all this kind of stuff is what were you doing? Were you wasting your time? And it was because I didn't have a clear vision. And then I never worked backwards to figure out, okay, how do I get there? How do I establish that? And how do I get to this idea of what I want? But it all starts with a vision. And I know I kind of went on a little rant here, but I just up front wanted to stress how important this idea of having a vision for your life is. So I'm going to stop now and let you share why you think it's important.
Well, yeah. Well, the fact is, it wasn't a tangent. It's very pertinent information. The fact is, you figured it out that
Sure.
you were missing the vision, Now, even if you're 40, 50, we were talking off air about somebody who's 65 and is wandering aimlessly
Sure.
through life, but think they have a clue. That's the dangerous part when you don't recognize it. And there was something I sent you from the first forum guy, Andy Frischilla. Is that how you
Priscilla,
pronounce his
yep.
name?
Yep.
And he was talking about people that are driven people feel like they're never making any progress. 90% of the time they think they're losing.
Yep.
Then 8% of the time they're confused. Then 2% of the time they said, okay, I'm winning. But then they wake up the next day and they think they're losing. It's a groundhog day of hyper accountability. And that's where you and I sit in. That's why I sent you that.
Yeah.
But knowing that you don't have a vision, or maybe knowing that your plan or vision is not working out and you need to pivot, that's important. That's really good stuff. The
Mhm.
people we're hopefully talking to are the people up until this point haven't had the epiphany that they said, dude, I'm screwed up and I don't have a clue.
Yeah.
The people that think they know it all and have it all figured out are really the most dangerous, like lost people out there.
Yeah.
And we're not even talking about fitness now. We're talking about everything.
Right.
You know, there's a saying too, like in your 20s, you think you have it all figured out. In your teens, you definitely have it all figured out. In your
Sure.
30s, you have it mostly all figured out. In your 40s, you're like, I don't really have that much figured out.
Yeah.
In your 50s, you say, I don't have a fucking clue what's going on. And your 60s, you're like, I'm checking out. Okay, I'm gonna retire and I'll just go and keep it simple and
Yeah.
try not to break my hip in a fall.
Right.
That's
Yeah. No, I mean this right now, as we're talking, and for everybody listening, ask yourself the question: where do I see myself in 5 years? It's such a cliche thing, but it's legitimate. You need to think about those kind of things. You need to have those conversations in your mind. And, I don't want to just come on here and stress how important a vision is and then not talk about how to come up with one and how to find one and how to create one. I've read a lot of self development books to help figure out the best way to plan out a vision. And, I hear this expression a lot to bring more expressions into this. People overestimate what they can do in a year, but they underestimate what they can do in 5 years, underestimate what they can do in 10 years and how far you can go and what you can accomplish. And I feel like that's a pertinent quote, but at the same time, there's so many people that don't even think about what they're going to do. They don't, like you're not taking the time to think about, okay, well, what's the next month look like for me? What's my vision for this week look like? And I think there's a fine line that you can walk when it comes to vision planning. You can be so granular and get lost in the weeds of vision planning and making sure that you're doing this and just think about vision all the time. And I'm guilty of this, where I think about my end goal more than I do the daily habits to get me to my end goal sometimes. And then I get lost and I'm like, oh crap, I've spent all my time focused on just dreaming. And then you don't make any progress either. So it's taking a day. And so what I'll do a lot of times is usually every quarter, I will sit and basically take a whole day and think about, all right, what's my plan for next quarter? So at the end of the quarter, I will be like, okay, what's my vision for this next quarter? But then I'll also revisit my vision for the next year. And then I'm okay, what's my plan for the next year? And where do I see myself in the next year? And what's the goals that I want? And you really have to sit and take the time to figure that out. You can't just fly by the seat of your pants all the time and expect to get where you want to go if you don't even know where you want to go. And so making it intentional. And so everybody right now, hell, if you want to pause this episode, take a few minutes and think about what's your vision for the next year? What's your vision for the next month, for the next week? But then think about what's my vision for the next 5 years? If you're in your 30s right now, 40's coming sooner than later, like let's figure out what do you want to have accomplished by the time you're 40? Nothing. You want to make no progress in life. And so you got to have real hard conversation with yourself about what you've done, where you've gotten to, where you're at right now, and then figure out where you want to go. You can't, I've heard this a million times with the GPS. If you want to go somewhere, you've got to know where you want to go and where you're at. And then you can plot the directions to get there. But if you just like I just heard this yesterday. I'm going to butcher the quote probably, but if I was a pilot and you were getting on the plane and you said to me, I just want to make sure we know where we're going. And I said, yeah, we're going east, but you want to go, well, I guess you're in Florida. So let's go west, but you want to go to LA. Let's say you want to go to LA. And I say, oh, we're going to go west. And you're like, okay, but are we going to LA or are we just going west? Oh, we're just going west. Would you get on that plane? Would you feel confident in where we were going? Probably
Well,
not,
I mean,
right?
especially if it was made by Boeing, no, I wouldn't be confident. So, and especially if it's one of those hires that, it doesn't matter if you know it, but we got to check the box. But
Yeah,
yeah,
sure.
so you could have a really, we're talking hypothetical, but this could really happen,
Yeah,
you
good
know?
point. Good point. Fair enough. So, but in your life, like, here's the thing: like, if you don't know that you want to accomplish X goal or whatever it is, if you don't know that you want to buy a house in the next 5 years, how are you even going to be working towards that? Are you just going to feel like, oh, it's just going to happen, and then you fly by the seat of your pants? And I'm so guilty of this. I spent so much time wasted so much time of progression in life for myself and for my family uh, when it comes to buying a house. We just never set the goal and really set the intention of getting that done. And then when we finally did, holy smokes, we got it done, and it was no problem, right? It was a problem, but it wasn't a problem, right? Like, we got it done. And if you continue to spend so much of your life with no goal, like the last couple of years, I've really come into working for myself. Up until 2019, I'd always had a boss, always had an employee, or I was always an employee and always had a boss, always had direction coming from a company, a corporate leader or whatever. And since then, I've been working for myself, and I've struggled so much. And you and I've talked about this, struggled so much with lack of direction, of lack of knowing where to go, but then lack of confidence in that decision because I didn't have someone else telling me what to do. And it's so easy that when you're in that position for a career, you just have somebody tell you what to do. You get stuck in the day to day, and it is what it is. But if you really want to progress in your life and you really want to have the best life that you can possibly have, and you want to thrive for yourself and for your family, you need to step outside of that and figure out a vision for yourself. Do you want to stay working at that job for the next 10 years? It's a question to ask. Do you want to be in the same financial position that you're in right now? Do you want to live in that same apartment that you're in right now? Do you want to have a family in the next 10 years? Let's think about those things. And you can't move towards any of them if you haven't taken the time to sit down and really think about it. So I would encourage everyone to schedule a day, schedule half a day, schedule a few hours to just think about your vision and what that looks like for you the next 6 months to a year to 2 years and where you want to go.
We're
Again,
gonna.
another tangent. Sorry.
That's okay. You gave me a lot to think about because we're going to talk about the human condition a little bit, but also talk about the outside kind of poisoning of the water. And the number one thing I believe does it more than anybody is social media.
Sure.
You look at social media, you have a vision, but then you see someone else's fake vision on social media, the fake life that they're living, the fake success. And that's where I think you and I, even though we try to avoid it, we're not immune to it, where we look and see people that seemingly have it much easier, that seemingly have more success. There's StreamYard telling me they don't want to get banned all over the place.
There you go. Yeah.
But social media really does cause the comparison as the thief of joy. And you and I are so hyper accountable that we don't feel like we succeed in anything, which hinders our vision as well. The other thing is the human condition is, and we know because we ended up making it a dream, a reality of being pro wrestlers. But if it was this day and age and we were 18, 19 years old, in my case, when I started, or whatever age you started, do you think we would have sat there and went, yeah, but, oh, I don't have that. And you start crushing your own dreams before you can even have the vision of making, and I'm guilty of this at 52, where when I wake up every day, I have a fitness business, I have a brand, I have a content creator type thing going on, but I'm flying by the seat of my pants, even though I know I shouldn't be, because there's no, and I don't know if this is designed by the YouTube algorithm, by SEO, by all these other things to cause constant chaos and doubt and guesswork and pivoting and all these other things because it didn't used to feel that way. I want
Sure.
to be a wrestler. That's what I'm doing. I'm going to this company. After
Yeah.
I'm here this long, I'm going to this company. Then
Sure.
I'm going here. And there's obviously going to be dips and roads and forks in the road. But for the most part, my wrestling career, when I set out for a goal and I set out to do something or I set out to try to make something happen or get better, I usually had a pretty decent result.
Mm.
But now it feels like everything in the world is inversed. It
Sure.
feels like everything is upside down and backwards. And it doesn't feel like, it feels like now I have more control and freedom in my life. And I have more results and more of my output from my input than ever.
Yeah.
Yet I feel like I'm not accomplishing anything. I feel like
Yeah.
I don't have a vision. I'll be honest with you. And I think you can say
Yep.
the same thing. We have things we would like to have happen. But I think we even asked each other the question off camera. Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Yep. You did. You
You
texted me
text
that.
me, you text me three things because your business coach said, what are three things about Mike
Yeah.
that you feel like are strong traits? And I'm sure after you read them, you hearted the answers I gave, but you were probably like, I don't see it.
Mm.
It's so screwed up.
Sure.
We should have it all figured out. We should be like, now we're on the path. We know what works and what doesn't work, but we feel like we don't.
Sure.
It's a strange. Is it a Stockholm syndrome? Are we imprisoned by our own doubts now?
Yeah, I mean, I think to a certain extent, I think in part it's because we don't have that clear vision of what it is that we want. I mean, I think we both know, and I think this is guilty for a lot of people, is you don't have that clear vision, so then you don't feel fulfilled in what you're doing because you don't know if it's working towards where you want to go. You don't know if you're moving in the right direction or the wrong direction. And because you haven't taken the time to really get a concrete vision, like I have an idea of where I want to go right now, and I have a plan for the next year. But I really struggle with that long-term vision of where do I want to be in 10 years? What is the plan here? Do I want to be a content creator in 10 years? Do I want to be a YouTuber in 10 years? Is that my goal? Like, is that the life that I want? I have an idea of the lifestyle that I want, but have I really casted the vision of what the career and how that financially pays off? And so I think for both of us, and I think for a lot of people, it's not having that vision. And if you haven't taken the time to sit down and craft that clear vision of what you want out of life, you can very, very quickly get lost in the direction you're going because you don't know if you're doing the right thing. You don't know today if what you did, that piece of content is going to push you closer to your goal. And the reality is you're either moving closer to your goal or away from your goal. But if you don't know what your goal is, then shit, you're lost. And so to bring it back to the vision and casting a vision, I think both of us, you and I, should do a better job of casting the vision. You did ask me a few months ago and then you forgot about asking me, but I never responded to you because I just didn't know, like it was where do we see ourselves in 5 years? Where do we see ourselves in the next 2 years? What do you see us doing? And I thought about it for me, and you had an answer for me, but I didn't have one for you because it's so hard
Because
to
I'm a
come up with
fucking
that.
mess.
Well, no, but
Because most pro wrestlers don't last past 40 anyway. So you're probably like, this guy's like, he's killing the
5 years,
bell curve here.
Yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair. But it's
Maybe I got another run getting drug tested every week at Raw and SmackDown like I used to do. Maybe that's my new calling.
There you go. That could do it. But I just think for both of us, we have so many, and here's where I think you can run into trouble with your vision is if you don't sit down and figure out a true vision, then you think every idea is a good idea. And then you're like, oh, this looks cool. And this looks cool. And then you're chasing this and you're chasing this, but you are so much more susceptible to saying yes to things that don't move you forwards toward your goals if you don't have a vision. And so vision and goals in my mind are not the same thing. you cast a vision for what you want, and then you set goals on things to accomplish that vision and things to get you to that vision of your life. And then goals are not the end all be all either, because you got to set a goal, but then you got to figure out the daily habits to get there. So it's like a building block. You want this life, but you got to work backwards. So you got to know what this life is first that you want. And if you don't take the time to sit down and figure it out, then goal setting is a waste of time. And if you don't figure out your goals, then your daily habits, what are you doing? So you really got to start at this vision and then work your way backwards of how do I get to that aspect of my life? And I think both of us could benefit from doing that more consistently. I mean, I still do it with the quarterly stuff of like, here's what I want to accomplish over the next quarter. But to your point, like, I do feel like I don't have that longer term vision of what life's going to be in 5 years and what I'm working towards, which then hinders my quarterly planning, which then hinders my daily habits, because then it's in my head. And this is being real transparent here. In my head, I feel like, why am I doing this? Because I don't know where that's going to lead. And then I question, is this the right thing I should be doing? Or is this the right thing I should be doing?
You're
Or is
guessing
this
the results. You're guessing
Yeah.
the results or lack thereof before you even put the effort into it.
Yeah, exactly. And so it's just this big mind fuck that happens when you don't have a vision. But the times where I've thrived the most in my career is when I've had a clear vision of where I was going. And then I knew what I would work towards, and I knew what I would get done. And then everything thrived. Right now, I'm in a season where it's like, okay, this could be cool, but is it exactly what I'm chasing? And so that's where a vision must come into play. And I'm saying all this out loud. And as I'm saying it, I'm telling myself, I need to come up with a vision for the next 5 to 10 years of where I want to go and what I want to accomplish.
What would be, I'm going to put you on the spot now, see, what would be the number one thing you think, as far as it can be money. It can be like, I just don't want to worry about money anymore. It can be, I want more control,
Yeah.
or you already aren't working for anybody. You're working for yourself.
Sure.
So that's a lot of progress in the course of,
Sure.
now we're at 5 years after that. What would be the number one thing you think that you would want to accomplish in a vision or a vision board or any of the other stuff where you write it on a piece of paper, put it in a notes app, mind mapping, whatever it is? What would be the number one thing you would want to say in 5 years? Okay, I at least got that.
Well, I don't know if it's one specific task or thing that I want to accomplish, but I know the lifestyle that I want to have. I want to have freedom. That's what I want. I want to have complete freedom from me and my family to be able to do what we want when we want, not have to answer to anybody. There's this line in a Kid Rock song where he says, I got that fuck you money. And I don't need to be super rich, but I want to have enough money where I can just say, no, I'm good. I don't want to do that,
Yeah.
and not have to worry about that kind of stuff, because there's sometimes you got to do jobs you don't want to do so that you can make some money. And I get it. And I just don't, I know that is a part of my vision, is that being financially free, being free as a family to just be who we like, to just be a family and spend time together. And that's the most important thing. It's just, what does that look like? How do I get there? I know that that's the end goal, is freedom for my family and for me to be happy and to do what we want when we want. But what is that? What is that one thing that has to happen? Or is it multiple things? And that's where I get confused and stress about it and heavy burden with it and stuff like that when I'm really trying to think about it.
Well, let me tell you this. You already, like I just said, you're already much more free than you were in 2019. You have much more freedom. You're making money. Money's always going to be stressful, especially in these times that we have right now.
Yeah.
But you think about the quality of life you have with your family now, and you think about how you're moving towards that vision to have more freedom, and you're working towards it. I'm with you. I think what I would say is I love having an affiliate business, and you have it with an affiliate with, the Grit Runner Elite now with True Grit Fitness. But to wake up and have sales is basically passive income. And in me at this stage, I'm looking at trying to plant seeds and try to have income streams that are either low maintenance income or a completely passive income.
Sure.
And that's just because of the freedom aspect, because I want to serve others. And I feel like part of the vision of what I'm trying to do and what you're trying to do is when we get ourselves in that financial position, we can become so incredibly generous and charitable and helping
Mm,
others and doing things like that. And we're trying to do that concurrently
yeah.
as we're building a business off of that. That's the real question of balancing that.
Sure.
Also, I don't, I'll be honest with you. I mean, since you're being very transparent, I would feel like my life is a failure if 5 to 10 years from now, I'm still just making YouTube videos reviewing fitness products.
Mm,
I feel like I've made such a lateral move at best with
mm.
that. That doesn't
That's big.
serve, it serves people as an information source. But I look and I say, I have a TV studio here. How am I not
Yeah.
serving God more and serving others more by not
Sure.
putting that into use? But
Sure.
then I get into the thing, and obviously, we're being very, very transparent here. The wrestling channel is a complete failure at this point, and it's dead in the
Mm,
water. The
sure.
wrestling content that last year seemed so cutting edge and exciting and new concept. Hey, I got it. I got death
Yeah.
by 1,000 copyright
Yeah.
claims and
Yeah.
blocks.
That's the
So you
truth.
got, so you have to pivot away from that. But I put a lot of money and effort and time in that, and
Sure.
I learned a lot of lessons about producing content. And I'm like, okay, maybe I can put that into use
Sure.
for something. But I don't
Yeah.
know, Mike. I'm like you. Like, am I really going to put all that effort in to once again get knocked down or talk about Ozempic and get my channel taken down? Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, no, I get it, man. And I think for both of us, I think everybody listening can tell us right now that, hey, Mike and Stevie, you need to get your visions together and get them figured out. I mean, we can come on here and preach all day, but if we don't have it, like, like it's not that we don't have a general idea, but we don't have we have a general idea, and you with general idea you're going to get general results. If you have a specific idea of what you want, you'll get those specific results, and you'll get the results that you're chasing. And so I think for both of us, it's maybe let's challenge each other and we'll connect. We don't have to do it publicly, but we'll have to talk about
Yeah.
like what are our visions over the next few years of how are we going to make this work. And we do it quite often anyways. For everybody listening, we talk about those things a lot. But I think to just kind of leave everybody with a thought when it comes to this vision idea is that is the starting point. You need to know where you're going, no matter where you're at in life. If you're a teenager up to your 70s, you need to know what your goal is. And I mean, hell, if you're 90, you still need to know how you want to end your life. Like you still need to know what's going on and how you want to live out your days and how you,
Yeah.
like having that vision of what things are going to be is the most important starting point. And when it comes to fitness, your fitness journey, you got to have a vision. Okay, well, my vision here is I want to be physically fit. I want to be able to run a mile in under 7 minutes. That's my goal with getting this treadmill is be able to get to the point that I started at 11:25 and now I want to be under 7 minutes. It's going to take a long time to get there, but if you don't have the vision, then you don't even know what you're chasing. You're just going. And so same thing with your nutrition. You got to have a vision of the types of foods that you want to eat. You got to have a vision of the lifestyle, the body type that you want to have so that you know how to get there. And it all starts there. And so everybody, if you take nothing away from this episode, other than Mike and Stevie got a little too transparent for our own comfortability, you need to set a vision for your life in every aspect. There's different categories: financial vision, spiritual vision, family vision, career vision, fitness vision, whatever else. There's a couple other ones. There's like 7 categories. You set the expectations of what it is that you want to chase. And then when you know where you want to go, you now set the goals to help get you there, and then figure out your daily habits to get you to accomplish those goals, to get you to the vision of life that you want to have.
I'm gonna end my part with this, and I'll let you take us out. We see so many people, like I said, with social media, YouTube, wherever it might be, or even podcasts, that will say these things that we just said. but it comes off like word salad because they don't turn around and say, I'm just as messed up
Mm,
as you.
sure.
That's where people like when they give you direction, we know what to do,
Yeah.
but we're here to tell you, you let us take the bullet for everybody because we beat ourselves up way worse than we need to. And it's a cautionary tale to each and every one of you out there. Be rough on yourself, push yourself,
Mm,
but don't beat yourself up so much that you're paralyzed
yeah.
by already some self-fulfilling prophecies in your head about how things are going to go.
Yeah.
Um, that's all I got to say. I mean, obviously we're real transparent with it, but
Yeah.
we're lacking a vision. Even with the Big Fitness Show, we get
Sure.
on pre-post production and we're kind of like, what's the topic? What's this? What's that? And we have a topic for next week, but we're also 60 episodes in saying, okay, we're 60 in. We got views. We appreciate the audience, but how can we reach more people? What are we
Right.
doing wrong? What can
Right.
we pivot? How do we pivot? But
Sure.
we didn't do it after 2 episodes and then get lost and all over the place. We waited 50, 60 episodes in to start. Okay, now let's look at the numbers and see.
Yeah.
So you got to be very measured, have that vision, but you also need to look once in a while to see, am I following the vision or is the vision not for me?
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's good. That's good. And I have one more thought that came up while you were saying that is you and I have the ability to bounce ideas off of each other. So for everyone listening, when you're doing your vision, I would encourage you to find someone to bounce that off of, to talk to. But I would also encourage you to not do it with the wrong person. So make sure you're talking to the right person because some people, most people you're going to talk to are going to have an ulterior motive or wonder, or they're going to give you their opinion based on what's best for them, not necessarily for you. So if you talk to the wrong person about it, they're going to lead you in a direction that maybe isn't the right fit. And so I have a business coach that I meet with every month and a half or so. We just met yesterday and I pay him to meet with me. And so he's impartial. He gets paid. It's like he doesn't care about what I want. And so like, well, he does care because I pay him to care. Right. But like the point is when I throw ideas at him of like, hey, this is what's going on. This is what I got. This is what's working. This is what's not. He gives me his impartial feedback on where I should go. You know, for years, he has said to me, Mike, is this volleyball club that you have really a good idea? Is it really worth your time? He's impartial. He doesn't care. But having somebody like that is a good person that you can bounce your vision off of and see if it makes sense. But just make sure that they don't have any ulterior motives in who you're talking to. So just be real careful with that. You know, like parents maybe aren't the best ones. Siblings maybe aren't the best ones. A friend that you talk to once in a while might be a better option. A totally random person, Stevie or I, email us at the bigfitnessshow@gmail.com. We can give you our thoughts, you know, like it's little things like that that can give you an impartial look into or a third party that will give you a different view, a different perspective on things to maybe help dial that in a little bit better with no ulterior motive. So anyway,
There's also just be careful. Sometimes with your vision, you don't need a devil's advocate to give you an op. You
yeah,
just need to push through and do it.
yeah,
But I would say this too. You said it a while back. You say it many times. Go to somebody for advice who has the life
mm,
or the vision or the result from the vision that you want.
yeah,
Don't go to somebody who's broke or not doing as good as you if you want to be better off financially. Go to somebody that's better off financially that wants to give you the right advice too.
yeah,
You got to be very careful. And we said it before, be careful who you share your
yeah,
dreams with. You
yeah.
got to be very careful. Same thing with the vision. So I wanted to just add that right
Yes,
there. Sometimes you just got to push through and say, I'll show you, you'll see. Because that's basically how I accomplished a lot of my stuff out of spite because I was told by many people not to do it.
yeah,
That can drive you as well.
yeah.
Your haters and the people that want to see you fail can motivate you every bit as much to accomplish that vision as the people that believe in you.
Mm,
You got to be careful though.
love that.
I'll show you.
I'll show you. You'll see.
That's exactly where it came from. 15
Yeah.
years old, somebody told me, you will never make it as a pro wrestler. I'll show you, you'll see. Larry Sharp told me when I went into the Monster Factory, think of something else. You're just a skinny kid from Philadelphia. I'll show you. You'll see.
Yeah.
Everywhere I went, that's always been in my head. I don't know why it's not now. Isn't
Yeah.
that weird?
Yeah.
Maybe because I've had some heart attacks. I don't want to stress myself out too much. Yeah, I got him. I'm so friggin' fired up. Oh, God. Here it go again.
Well, let's bring it back. I'll show you. You'll see. That's the mentality going
Yeah.
into the rest of the year, 2024, for the Big Fitness Show, for Stevie Richards, for Big Mike Behrens. We'll show you. You'll see. Appreciate you guys for listening. Hope you got some value from this. Like we said at the top of the episode, if you did get some value, share it with a friend. We don't want to be a best kept secret anymore. I feel like there's some value here. I hope there is. I mean, I definitely got some value here. I got a takeaway here, and I know Stevie did. So share this with somebody. And thanks for tuning into the Big Fitness Show. We appreciate you. Subscribe to the channel. Check us out on the podcast platform. Subscribe to that so you get some downloads, and we'll see you in the next episode. Thanks, everybody.
This is the big one, Elizabeth.